Great atmosphere, Razorback Nation. Thank you guys for showing up and showing out. I thought it propelled our guys to really dig kind of deep. We had some guys that were actually were a little winded. They were tired. You saw Daniel right there. I think they ended up hitting a three-pointer to tie it up at the 48-second. We had just scored and won, and we scored a bucket. And now we just got to get a stop, and we couldn't get back down the floor to even just contest the shot. But Indiana, you got to give them credit, man. What a basketball team, man. They just wouldn't go away. They answered every time we made a run. They were answered. And the beauty of what we did, I thought we answered it as well. Morgan got in foul trouble earlier. I thought that was big because of the size factor with Daniel Gafford. And we saw what Morgan was capable of doing in the second half. The Langford kid, we just at times we had no answer for him, but we wanted to make sure he worked for everything. We know he likes to get in that lane, but he was knocking shots down from the perimeter. But I can't say enough about our guys' resolve. I thought the fight, which enabled them to stay in this game, and not only that, they didn't panic. Indiana made a run, made plays, and guess what? We answered on the other end. We made plays, and we executed. So even when you talk about having played the Texas game, I thought this came back to maybe help us. That we didn't panic, and we made the right plays at the right time. And what can you say about Daniel? Daniel, he was, he played his tail off on both ends of the floor. Started the game off, I think, with a block shot that enabled us to get a basket at the other end. So, good team win. Bench was much better tonight, and that's the difference in the ball game. One of the bigger plays I thought right at halftime was Gabe Usaboy hitting that three-point shot. I thought that kind of gave us a little lift going into to halftime because we had a lead and they cut into it, and we get a three-point shot right there to come out in the second half, and I thought we came out with pretty good energy. But again, Indiana's a very good basketball team, and they'll be ranked and they'll be playing some tournament basketball at the end of the year. So we're fortunate. The last tip that Morgan missed, and then all people to come up with it was Mason Jones. He just was a scrapper, and he got up there and made one free throw, and we talked about missing the other one. So because they had no timeouts, it was only 2.5 seconds, on the clock, and it's amazing. I've been harping about guys making free throws, and that was probably the greatest miss in my tenure in a while. So it's a good win. We were fortunate.
Mike, I know Mason's a good free throw shooter, but he just missed the front of the one-on-one. But he said he wanted the ball. How confident were you when he went up with the game tied? And then some guys, they try to miss and they end up making it, or they don't. He missed it where it hit the rim and kind of did stuff and took up the time. How effective was he in the execution?
I thought he was really good. I thought he was well. As a matter of fact, right before that, I told him he was going to come back. He had missed the free throw, and obviously they went down and tied it up. And I think we had the ball, and I told him it's going to come back to you. But I thought we'd be up when it came back to him. So it came at he got in the mix of it and got up there and knocked the first one down, timeout. Then we came out, and he missed it. He missed the perfect free throw. That's what he missed it.
10-0 run, the early second half to take the lead. What did you see from Daniel at that point? Because it kind of looked like he had the eye of he's taking that game over.
I thought our guys did a good job of really identifying getting the ball to him, and he was determined to make plays. He figured he had the mismatch. We had those guys in foul trouble, and so that was our strategy was to get it into him, and then let guys play off of him. So it was good to see him step up and answer the call. I don't know if it was a career high, but he had a tremendous night tonight, not only offensively but defensively as well.
Hey, Mike, the players talked about the Texas game really hurt, and they didn't want that to happen again. That probably had a lot to do with the resolve you were talking about. Just what did you see from them in that regard? And how big is it to win a big game like this, especially after a tough loss to Texas?
I think the great thing about it is, and a lot of people were asking about, Indiana coming here, and obviously we feel we have a great program here as well. But Indiana is every game's a big game, and so these guys got to understand that. But they started off playing Texas at a neutral site, which was in Texas, and we were right there. And the things that we didn't do well, you think about it. We didn't take care of the basketball. We didn't shoot free throws well. We didn't have many assists in that game. Tonight we had 20 assists. We only had 12 turnovers. And when we did get to the line, you know, we were okay. And we were just as good as they were. Let me put it that way. So, to me, we learned from it, and we cleaned up in some areas. And our bench played well. Our bench played real well. Our bench was even with them. Everybody that came on that floor contributed something. And that was big because it enabled me to rest Dan. Jalen Harris got in foul trouble, but enabled those guys. Mason played probably too many minutes, but Mason's a gamer, and we see him. This team is growing, and I think the lessons are going to be learned from each and every game. We're going to learn some lessons from this game. And there are some things that we didn't do. I didn't think we capitalized on the momentum. I mean, we're up 10 and we got the ball. We got guys just come down like it's just let it fly. And we just had a dunk with Daniel. And so they're learning. They're learning, you know, how to utilize. You know, we got something special here when you talk about our Razorback fans. They understand game. They understand the momentum. They know when to and when not to. And we just got to learn how to utilize that momentum.
Mike, Indiana turned it over almost 25% of their possessions tonight. What did you see from your defense and how they played?
You know, our defense, I thought it was not even on the front end of it. I thought it was in the half court. Our defense was really, really good. Guys were flying around to the ball, touching. We had 15 deflections at halftime. I think we ended up maybe, 35. So even in the second half, I thought we were much, much more active. I thought fatigue became a factor in this game. I thought fatigue and our pressure, what it does, it comes at you and you can attack it, but you still, I thought we sped them up a little bit. And then that fatigue became a factor in the end. Those passes that you normally throw, because they threw a couple of post passes that our guys were able to get around, and they were big plays to deflect, and we came up with them.
Mike, you know, Mason had 7 assists, no turnovers. Playing all those minutes, a lot of times guys will have a couple turnovers just out of fatigue. What did you think of his floor game? You know,
it's much better. I mean, it's better than it was in practice. I'm gonna tell you that. So maybe he's learning. I mean, last day in practice, I mean, I was gonna give him an apple turnover. He was just turning it over left and right. So I guess the game brings on a different mindset. I didn't know that till you just pointed it out. He played well.
And you alluded to what a big three that was that Gabe hit. That was his first. I think he'd been 0 for 6 on threes, 0 for 4 last year, 0 for 2 this year. What did you think of hit? That was a pretty good time to hit a 3-pointer.
He does not have a bad stroke. I think, you know, Gabe just got to be consistent and, you know, and working on his shot. Because people, they leave him open. He's got to be able to knock that down. He's capable of doing it, and so it's good to, you know, that'll do a lot for his confidence. All right, thank you guys. All right.